Hi everybody, Nick here. And I got a review for you today of the Spyderco Manix 2 Lightweight in S110V steel. And I'd like to take a program note here and say that you all are the reason for this review. I saw this knife cheap online and figured, you know what, I'm going to give it a shot. And it was just because I had the justification of having viewers and whatnot. So I blame you guys for this. Just FYI. And gals. Who knows? So, Manix 2 is a knife. It's lightweight. It's meant to be a really strong functional cutting tool, and that's what it is. But it sure isn't for me. This is a very different thing than what I normally carry. Pros, ergonomically, beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. It feels really great in my hand. Between the thumb, the choil here, thumb ramp, and just the shape overall. Fits like a glove. There are no hot spots cutting with this knife with my hands, which is incredible. It has the best ergonomics out of any knife I've handled, bar none, including some of my ergonomic favorites, like your Sleesh Buoy here. Absolute gem, ergonomically speaking, which is nice. It's got the Spyderco ball bearing lock, which, practically speaking, functions a lot like your axis lock. Comes back to unlock. Has a spring in there. Looks like it might be a little more durable than the axis lock because it doesn't have omega springs, but, you know, whatever. It works fine. I think I prefer the rod rather than these plastic texture pads, but what it is. And then your steel is incredible. S110V is a great, great super steel. This will hold an edge forever, and it came pretty damn sharp from the factory. Although I got it used, it was like new in box, basically. So really nice in that regard. And overall, it's also a very lightweight knife. Compared to your Delica, although it's much bigger, it doesn't feel that much heavier. It's not that much more it feels less dense. It's a very light knife for the amount of cutting tool that you're getting here. A couple of negatives on it. First off, it is huge. Absolutely huge. Particularly when it's closed, this blade sticks up a whole bunch more. And so if we compare it to your Benchmade 940, this is a gigantic, gigantic blade. Even compared to your Sleesh Buoy or your Graham Razel, this is huge, huge, huge. And note that on your Razel, you've got this pocket clip, which makes it hang vertically and in the corner, versus this, which needs to hang flat in your pocket. So you will never, ever hear anybody say, oh, hey, I forgot I had my Manix 2 on me, because you always know. And for this reason alone, this is not a knife that I would carry. This is just way too big for the amount of blade that you're getting for what I do. I'll get there in a second. Second issue with it is that the full flat grind makes it a very good slicer, but the fact that the full flat grind intercepts the Spidey hole here means that there's a very sharp spot on both sides right here. And that sharp spot means it kind of digs into your thumb as you're opening the knife. I wish that they had chamfered that a little bit better or worn that in so that way it doesn't kind of mess with your thumb. This is something you could correct with, 10 minutes in a bench stone or half a second in a Dremel, but, whatever. Little issue. And then, it's kind of superficial, but this knife fell out of the ugly tree and hit every branch on the way down. Oh my God. And that's part of the ergonomic beauty of it, but I do like objects of art that are also knives. Your tie lock here, compared to this is ugly and functional. This is pretty and slightly less functional. So that's the other issue, is this is just absolutely fugly. But that's okay, because that's part of the charm. And that's kind of what surprised me about this knife, is that it is not something I would ever carry. But, well, okay, in some videos I've made claims like, well, this isn't the knife I'd use if I was doing cutting all day long. And usually I refer to a knife that's a little bit more ergonomic, like my Sleesh Buoy or something like that, or even the Norseman's pretty damn ergonomic. But the thing is, when I actually got this knife and I held it, and I saw that it's an S110V steel for $110, this is the knife I would use if I was cutting all day long. If I had a job where using a knife, if I was opening bags all day long, if I was doing something where I just needed to be in and out of the pocket for the knife, deploy, undeploy, cut, hard use, anything like that, this is the knife I would carry because it's so damn comfortable and it's so damn functional. This is the best functional cutting tool I have seen or used. And that's led to some really awkward conversations, Your tie lock is a perfect example of this. This is a great knife, but it's not an excellent cutting tool in the same way that this is. The ergonomics are good. And the blade shape is good and whatnot, but the steel is less durable. It feels worse in the hand. The clip digs in a little more. Compared to some of my other knives, and even compared to my Grimsmo Norseman or my Graham Razel, which I really love, this is the best cutting tool. The Razel's a little less comfortable. The Norseman's a little weird in the blade shape. And your tie lock is just your tie lock. It makes some of my other knives feel less like functional tools and more like man jewelry. And that's okay, but it's led to some really awkward conversations inside my brain. And I have a lot of those anyways, so it kind of works out. And that's kind of my final impression of this blade. This is not for me, but this is probably the best everyday, hard use, regular use cutting tool I've ever felt and reviewed. And in that way, it's an absolute gem. This is an incredible cutting tool, but it's not very good for man jewelry. So you need to be honest with yourself, in the same way that I've needed to be. Ask yourself, am I doing this because I do a lot of cutting? Am I buying this knife because I do a lot of cutting? Or am I buying this knife because it's fun to have a nice knife with me? And those are two very different questions. The answer to one, nice knife to have with me, is very different than the answer for the other, nice knife to have and use all damn day long. So, like I said, it's not for me, but if you're a person who's in and out of the pocket with the knife all day, you need a lot of wear resistance, you really can't go wrong in an S110V Manix. It's light, it's ergonomic, great blade steel, great lock, no complaints there. I hope this has been helpful, and yeah, have yourself a wonderful rest of your day.